Hi there, mompreneurs. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Good Enough Mompreneur podcast. I'm your host, Angela Mishuli. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode or watch this episode if you're watching on our YouTube channel at Mom Business Coach. And so today's episode is going to be all about how to overcome the fear of judgment and show up confidently in your business. Anybody who has a business has struggled with this. I still sometimes struggle with this. There are times that I'll make a post or do something and wonder how it's going to be received or interpreted. And, I really I had a guest on the podcast. Her interview is coming up. But she talked about how, as humans, we are these meaning-making machines. Instead of just looking at things as data or really putting the focus on the service that we provide in our businesses, we put all this meaning behind it, and we think all of these people are judging us as much as we judge ourselves. And it's really something that keeps us stuck and so closely related to the perfectionism episode that I released a few weeks ago. So what are we going to talk about in this episode? Why fear of judgment keeps us stuck and holds us back, how to shift our mindset into take bold action, and then really some practical strategies on how to stop overthinking and start showing up. Because when you start showing up regularly for your business, magic starts to happen. And we stop letting the fear drive the car. So reality check is that most people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. And why do we fear judgment so much? We have a fear of failure, rejection, or embarrassment, childhood conditioning. We seek validation from outside sources. We don't have our own inner strong sense of self and our own sense of validation. And of course, we all want to avoid criticism, right? And then social media makes it so difficult not to compare ourselves or want to have a post that gets 1 million likes. Honestly, I've had posts go viral. I've had posts get 1 million plus likes. It really doesn't change things a lot. If it's not bringing in more revenue in your business, it's just like high school all over again, where it's a popularity contest. And I don't think anybody starts a business to be in a popularity contest, right? You have something you're really passionate about and you want to serve others with that. So, but here's the truth. You can't control what other people think. Actually, what other people think is really none of our business. But you can control how much you give power to others' opinions. You can control that. It's really hard. It gets easier over time, but it's something you absolutely can work on and get better at. So I would like to give you a question to reflect on during episodes. So at this point, you're probably thinking about your own situation, right? What is something that has been holding you back because of fear of judgment? Like, what is one thing that you haven't moved forward on because you're like, I just don't know? Maybe it's starting a business. Maybe it's transitioning in your business. Maybe it's doing something in your business that might not have everybody's backing, and that's okay. So, why this fear is holding you back? So, here are some signs that fear is holding you back. Sometimes we're not always aware of it. So, you hesitate to post, launch, or share your work. Is there a course that you want to create that you're worried about releasing? I know I've launched a few courses. It's very nerve-wracking. You put all of this effort and time into projects and you just don't know how it's going to be received. But we really need to look at that as data instead of this meaning something about our worth. You second guess every decision in your business. You procrastinate because you fear getting it wrong. and you shrink offers, prices, or your voice to fit in. Do you ever make your voice smaller to fit in? Everybody listening to this podcast has done it. So what are some mindset shifts that we can start to incorporate that can help us shift out of that fear of failure? Other people's opinions don't pay your bills. And fear of judgment is really fear of success in disguise. Have you ever thought about maybe really you're afraid of accomplishing all of the things that you really dream accomplishing? I have been there. It's absolutely something that exists. I don't think we talk about it enough. But also, one tip that I heard years ago is if you wouldn't want to trade your life with somebody who is voicing a negative opinion about your life, like if you wouldn't want to trade lives with them, why would you give any credibility to their opinion about something you're doing or something about you? So how can we begin to shift from fear to confidence? And if you're new here, I am a certified confidence coach and I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So not only do I know the elements of mindset blocks that get us stuck in fear, but I love doing that deep subconscious work through Reiki that help us release that. You have to stop trying to please everyone. And I know, especially as women, we're really conditioned to do that from a very young age, from very well-intentioned adults. And there's nothing wrong with being pleasing, but when it no longer benefits us and we do it to our detriment, that's when we have to have awareness that, I'm not serving myself, especially when it comes to business, because we get into business to make money, right? So you're not for everyone. And when you try to please everyone, you're not really pleasing those people you're truly meant to serve. And when you're repelling those people you're not meant to serve, that's great, because that means you're attracting and you're creating space for those people who you are meant to serve. So as I talked about in my solo episode a few weeks ago about perfectionism, getting used to this idea of done is better than perfect. And perfectionism is just fear in disguise. And 3, the more you show up, this is so true after being in business for several years, the less you care. And it kind of comes with age too. As I approach 50, it's like you care less and less about what other people think. So if you're much younger than that, you have that to look forward to. But action builds confidence. Messy action, just getting it done, it absolutely builds a lot of confidence. So what are some practical strategies that you can use to help you move out of that fear? One of the ones that I rely on so much when I realize I'm kind of stuck in a pattern is setting a time limit. And just post something without overthinking it. It's so important. And, I know there are so many people out there that it's wonderful for those people who are able to post a week or a month or a quarter or maybe even a year of content. But not everybody's in that position, especially as moms. And sometimes we do have to, hopefully strategically still, post things that are that day or something that's happening in our life. We don't have a post pre-planned. Make sure you're just posting something that is truly heartfelt and connects with who you're serving. And don't overthink it. And a great way to do that is if you set a time limit for yourself. And mute and unfollow those accounts that are really making that critical voice or making you feel overwhelmed or self-conscious or doubt yourself because you think that they're maybe doing so much more or things that you wish you would be able to do. I know as moms, we can really get stuck in this trap of, especially when you have younger kids, comparing yourself to other moms who might have kids who are older and they have more free time or started their business years before you. You cannot compare yourself to somebody who has been in business for many years to somebody who's just starting out. It's going to take you time to figure out things that work for you. So make sure you're doing that. And then keep a proof folder. I took a screenshot of a really wonderful review of the podcast that I saw recently. So I know I'm anticipating that dip. I know I have hard days. And I'm like, why am I doing all of this? So why do I do podcast episodes every week? And sometimes I do 2 episodes. It's because of the wonderful people I get to connect with, the wonderful women I get to help and serve. And so, like I said, that helps me connect with my value and, separate myself from all of the noise out there. So, in addition to keeping that proof folder, muting those accounts that make us feel critical about ourselves, and setting a timer, I use my smartwatch all of the time, and I set like a 10-minute, limit. Especially as moms, we might not have an hour to spend on a reel, and that's okay. But help hone in on what a strategic message would be. And ChatGPT is a really great resource to help you do that if you're feeling stuck. Just type in, hey, here's what I do, here's who I serve, I'm feeling really stuck today. Give me 5 post ideas that would connect, educate, entertain, or somehow connect with those that you serve. And then reframe failure as learning. If you're truly afraid of failure, there really is no failure. It's all learning. So what is the worst that could actually happen? And I had a wonderful guest who really reframed this well, in that, what if the best could happen? What's the best that could happen in a situation? And let's focus on that, because we all have a negativity bias. And that's the neuroscience behind why we feel so much fear. Is we have a negativity bias because our brains are wired to keep us safe, but we also feel like, oh, if everybody doesn't like what I'm doing, I'm going to be ostracized from the crowd, the village, the group. I'm no longer going to be able to survive. But actually, that's not the truth. Our brains haven't caught up to the advanced modern society and can't distinguish between, being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and, doing an Instagram live or something like that. So don't beat yourself up. Everybody does it, but there are definitely ways that we can take control and not let the fear be in the driver's seat. So what are some energetic shifts that we can do, and how can Reiki help you shift from fear of failure to being more confident? So let's do a quick energy clearing exercise. And I think before any energy exercise, we should definitely try to ground ourselves and close your eyes and take a couple of deep breaths and imagine roots in the bottom of your feet. And imagine collecting all of those negative thoughts and emotions that aren't serving you at this moment and recycling them into the earth. And then in exchange, bringing up the golden light energy of Mother Earth and letting that just fill your body for a moment. Okay? So it also, to be present in the moment, it is really helpful to put your hand over your heart and repeat this affirmation. I release the need for perfection. I show up as my true self with confidence. I release the need for perfection, and I show up as my true self with confidence. And that is why this podcast was started, because you are good enough just as you are. You're right where you are supposed to be. And if we consistently understand that we're on a journey, we're not just on a mission to earn X amount of dollars or serve so many clients or whatever your goal might be. We're on this journey to learn what we need to learn to be the person that achieves those goals. As a Reiki practitioner, I do distance sessions. If you would like to explore a Reiki session with me to go a little bit deeper on some of the blocks that may be keeping you in a position of fear, then you can definitely check out that link in the show notes. Doing energy work has made a huge difference in my sales and in my happiness and my harmony between business and family life. So here is my personal challenge to you. Post something today without overthinking it. Take one bold action that you have been avoiding. And you can connect with me over at mombusinesscoach.com and post it and tag me and tell me how this episode helped you. I love to hear from listeners or YouTube subscribers. That is just makes my day. The key takeaways are that fear is holding you back. It holds us all back at some point or another until we realize that we can be in control. We have so many reasons that we fear judgment and we fear criticism, but it doesn't serve us. So don't allow that fear to keep you from posting and launching, sharing your voice and doing all the things you want to do. So you can do some mindset shifts, and of course we can use some strategies like limiting our time, making sure that we're following those people that really fully fill us up. Have a proof folder, have a source that you go to that fills you up and makes you feel confident again. And start reframing things that you perceive as failure as actually just learning opportunities. And then really think about your energy and ways that you can take control of your energy and begin to shift it. And one of my biggest reminders to you is that you are good enough just as you are. I invite you to subscribe to the podcast if this was helpful to you. Leave us a review. We love that feedback. Subscribe. You make sure you haven't missed an episode. We are already recording for fall of 2025. We will soon be filled up for the entire 2025 season, which is very exciting. But those first episodes were so difficult on the podcast because of my fear of judgment. And now, 4 seasons later, I have a line of amazing entrepreneurs and authors and speakers and thought leaders who want to share their story on the podcast and connect with you. That is the result of me pushing through that fear of judgment and criticism. And I allowed myself to maybe not have the best episodes in the beginning, but I had never podcasted before. So it was really not even fair to me to have this judgment like I should know what I was doing and be good at everything all at once. It took a long time to get there. With that, I remind you again, connect with me over at mombusinesscoach.com. Let me know what was one thing you needed to hear in this episode. Hopefully something helped you have a mindset shift. But remember, confidence doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. You're already more than enough, and the world needs you to show up fully. And that's a reminder to me as well. So take that messy, bold action today. I'm cheering for you every step of the way. If you love this episode, take a screenshot and share it on Instagram or leave a comment in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love to hear from you. And I can't wait to talk to you on the next episode. Bye.